your car is driving. Toto Wolff is not in the cockpit. Mike Elliott is not in the cockpit. Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell is in the cockpit. You need to listen to their opinion. If the car doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here with an episode of F1 Talk. You thought it was gone, but we're here.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so we are.
It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks. Yeah,
we're changing the format a bit, and we are shifting it to later in the week now, just to give us a little bit more time to gather the news. But also because we're doing race commentary, on Sunday. So usually we would comment on the race in F1 Talk, and we figure let's use this time to cover big things in the news, talk about technical changes, and that way the content for, this is a little bit more fleshed out. Wouldn't you agree, Joe?
Yeah, it's at least we got a lot more time just to focus in on one object at once. So which is news, live reaction is race reaction. So separate out is better. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So the big thing in the news is really, you guys have seen it. We've seen it. Thank God they have finally seen it. But Mercedes F1 setup is just, it's a failure. It's a failure. And they're finally admitting it.
It's wrong. It's just not working. And they need to go back to the drawing board and change everything up. Otherwise, they're not gonna win. They're not gonna compete in the front row, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just become incredibly, incredibly evident that the whole zero pod concept is a failed approach. Really, it is a competitive car, but not at the front end of the pack. And I think
I hate to say it, Mercedes in midfield. They are midfield car. Mm-hmm. They are, it's really hard to admit, but we have to admit the truth. They are midfield car. They are worse than Aston Martin. That's all.
No, with their current setup, they are.
Yeah, they are worse than the original pink Mercedes.
Yeah, man. No, and realistically speaking, they're on par with Ferrari on a bad day.
Yeah. No, I would even argue Ferrari has a better concept than
No, they definitely have a better concept. But if you take Ferrari's excellent concept with a really bad strategy,
it's balanced. It balances it out for somehow. But they are on their edge of being fail.
yeah, and the reality is that they need to make some big changes, and so
they do.
So to clarify, right, for those of you guys who may not fully, I don't claim to fully understand all of the intricacies of what's happening with the zero pod design. However, you cannot just slap new pods onto the car and suddenly resolve all the issues. It's about the confluence of all of the elements between the front wing, the underfloor, the inlets to the underfloor, the pods, the control of the airflow over the rear axle, the suspension components, even the wing. The sum total of the design is not working cohesively with one another.
Yeah.
And
even
that's the issue.
Yeah. Even driving position needs to be changed. It's like everything needs to be changed, and even the steering wheel length from the steering wheel to the chassis to the front suspension, it needs to be changed.
Yes.
Engine like battery replacement needs to be changed. Everything needs to be kind of modified. It's not like you slap onto another part of the car, slap onto another side pod and works. No, it's not. It needs to change. Basically the whole car needs to change.
It does. It really does. And we're finally getting word from Toto Wolff that, that may be happening in all reality. Basically, what were you going to say?
2024's car might be coming sooner than later than we were expected.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And
2024, not 2014.
yeah,
2024. Yeah.
But they admitted that, or Toto Wolff admitted that they went down this rabbit hole of seeing the data within the CFD, seeing the data within the wind tunnel, and it's not correlating with performance in the race. And that's okay. We have to allow teams to make mistakes. And there was a great quotation that said, and I can't remember who said it, but we need to allow artists to fail. We need to allow them to go down rabbit holes that lead to nowhere in order for them to do their best work. And that's true for us, but that's also true for the engineers and us being designers, Joe and I. But it's also true for the engineers at Mercedes. The problem that Mercedes has is that's millions upon millions of dollars on the line, and it's very difficult to afford making mistakes like this.
Yeah, I feel like they need to do what Redbull was doing last year, just to go over budget cap. They claim that the budget cap is not performance related, but I doubt it. Like we talked about it our last video, so it's just not going that way. But they need to do what Redbull was doing, just to go over some budget cap and then just, develop the car for the next, develop a best platform that they can develop for the next few years, and then the budget cap, and then they don't spend money next few years, so they can have the car to develop on top of it. Yeah. And that's what Redbull was doing. If you look at their car last year and this year, and even next year, or even 2 years later, their car will be like that for majority of this era, and just changing the side pod a little bit, shaping the form a little bit, and then until 2026 our new regulation comes in, their car is gonna stay the same like that because they are fast. They don't have to change, they don't have to change a lot of things to be fast. And I feel like Mercedes needs to do that. They need to, go over the budget cap and just design it and just spend it.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like Joe was saying, we may see, it's rumored currently that the W14 may be pushed up in the timeline. So we may be seeing the W14 coming out this year.
W15.
No, W14. W13.
W14. No, W13 was the last one. W14 is this one.
Okay. So, well, Okay, they may call it the B-spec W14.
Yeah. B-spec W14.
You're correct.
Yeah.
So,
but and also, like, they were saying they have unpacked a lot of performance from the new concept and new design based on the data from aerodynamic and wind tunnel. But again, we don't know because wind tunnel is just a fractured peak. It's just a little. It's just the peak of the iceberg. you have to go into the actual reality, actual track, to put a car on track to see. No one predict the bouncing, not even
precisely.
aerodynamic. Yeah. So it's
the
so we might
models
see
can't be fully trusted.
Yeah, we might see. Fingers crossed, we might see well balanced car, good car, but we might also see bad car again.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just the reality of how Formula One is. It's not like wind tunnel testing is everything. No, it's not. It's yeah.
And that's
it's actual testing. Yeah.
I had a friend who used to work with a company that the F1 teams outsource their CFD analysis to, and he's the guy, Joe, that did the recreations of the Subaru 22B wide body kit, actually.
Okay.
So when we go to Renner, when I talk about Steve, that's the guy.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah.
Just as a side note, my buddy Steve, he had his hands on the real, 22B wide body bits.
Replica,
and not replica. They were the original parts.
It's original.
The original molds,
actually. He was the one that was working on the car, on the concept of that wide body.
He didn't work at Subaru, but he was able to get the molds for the wide body kit and from them directly.
Yeah.
And he made the only true 1-to-1 Subaru 22B wide body kits in the United States. I won't say in the globe, but he did in the US, and it was he's a crazy guy. But what he'll tell you, and what he told me with CFD, is it's very difficult to replicate all the circumstances. So, like, a wind tunnel only shows you what's happening with the car going in a straight line, and you will rely on things like CFD to kind of show you what's happening when the car is turning, etc., etc. But there's only so much you can model. And as Joe was saying, you need to translate that into the real world. What all of this boils down to is a colossal amount of cost ahead for Mercedes.
And time, too.
And time. And resources.
It's like yeah. And it's like, again, they have to use the race itself, the GP itself, as a testing ground to fix their car. So we might not even see, to be real, we might not see them win races anytime soon.
Yeah.
If the car is perfectly developed and perfectly well balanced, we might see them compete in front, but we might not see, as a Mercedes and as a Hamilton fan, hate to admit it, but we might not see them win race anytime soon.
Yeah, which is really, I mean, this feels like 2022 almost all over again, right?
Yeah.
They debuted the concept. The concept had a lot of problems right from the beginning, and they spent the entire season, or not the entire season, but more than half of the season gathering data and trying to fix it.
Almost the entire season.
Yeah. And so really we're looking at another potential season like that right now.
Yeah.
Now, the big question currently that seems to be going around is, what does this mean for the future of Hamilton with Mercedes?
There's a rumor says,
thoughts, Joe?
Like, I mean, there's a rumor online, all over online, says Hamilton might leave Mercedes to go to Ferrari. But I mean, if I'm in Hamilton's shoes, I'm the number one driver. They need to listen. Like, when they develop their car, they need to listen to me. At least taking some advice from me, because I'm 7-time world champion if I'm Hamilton. And they didn't. The Mercedes didn't listen to him. They just go on their own way, just to develop whatever they want. Side pod, zero side pod. And Hamilton, in day one, Hamilton already said the side pod the zero side pod concept doesn't work.
Yeah.
Even last year, day one last season. So if I'm Hamilton shoes, I will be very frustrated. I will be looking if they don't give us a car to compete. I will be looking for different route in my future. I mean, it's my last few seasons. I don't want to last. Yeah, I don't want to lose.
Right.
I want to compete. Yeah.
And
so,
I think, I think that it's a difficult position to find himself in, right? Because let's be real, Ferrari doesn't have the ability right now, at least from what we've seen between last season and this season, to compete with Verstappen at the front. Right?
Nope.
Like they're fast. They're fast, but they're a good second place team, or third place team. They literally cannot keep up with, like, if Verstappen is on pole, he's gonna run away with it. I hate to say it because I don't like Verstappen as a person, and I'm not a fan of Christian Horner. But at the same time, I have to give credit where credit is due. He is the fastest on the grid right now, bar none.
Yeah.
And the Red Bull car is just a rocket ship. It really is.
Yeah.
It's the fastest thing on the grid, most well set up, and seems to be, with the exception of, the last race, one of the most reliable rocket ships.
I mean, I hate to say it, but their car is fast, and when Mercedes was fast, they are not that fast.
Exactly.
To be told. So again, what I'm trying to deliver the message is, don't look at things on the surface only. Look at things differently and different way. So a lot of people are talking about budget cap, and budget cap where like says Red Bull doesn't have the performance. The budget cap is not in the performance. I know Sherif and I don't believe it. There's something's going on in there. So.
No, I mean, the car is so dominating. It's insane.
11 seconds ahead of
12 seconds, actually. Yeah, 12 was, in Bahrain. 12 seconds ahead of second place, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's massive. Like you said, even in Mercedes' best days, man, they were 12 seconds.
Yeah. 12 seconds insane for
guys. Like, put that
12 seconds insane in the first race already.
Right. Like, think about it. At race speeds, how much distance a second translates to, right? And then multiply that by 12. That's such a gap. That's such a massive gap between you.
So like no one on the grid, no team on the grid can challenge Verstappen. Only Checo can challenge Verstappen because they are in the same car, and we might see Red Bull 1-2 all year long again and again and again.
Yeah.
So if I'm in Hamilton's shoes, I will be frustrated because I want to compete.
Right.
And I'm 7-time world champion. I want to get my 8th world champion. And
I want to deserve.
I want revenge. I at least give Red Bull a taste of who is the guy to be. But
and
Hamilton can't do that right now.
I don't think he has a good option for that, if I'm really honest with you, because I don't think Ferrari has their stuff together enough to give him a good opportunity to make that kind of attack. Right? Red Bull is definitely not going to seek him out, right?
Nope.
The only way that's even remotely plausible is if they were to get rid of Checo, but their guy is Verstappen. So why would they want to upset the team dynamics by basically having his number one competitor with him on the team?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
The only other option that I could think of is if, whatchamacallit, why am I blanking on their name?
Aston Martin?
Yeah, if Aston Martin got rid of Stroll. Yeah, that God.
Yeah,
Why did it take me so long to
yeah.
think of Lance Stroll? But if Aston Martin got rid of Lance Stroll, and brought him along to be teammates with Alonso, but it'll never happen.
It's never like because his daddy's driver.
Precisely. They're not going to get rid of Lance Stroll. Like, it's basically a team for him.
Yeah, it's his team.
Right.
It's Stroll's team, basically.
Exactly. So even if Stroll has to play number 2 fiddle to Alonso all season, they're not going to get rid of him. To put in.
No, you're
Hamilton.
right.
So he's stuck. He's stuck
with he's stuck with Mercedes and with George Russell.
Yeah,
and with that car.
Yeah.
So Mercedes needs to get things together and give them a weapon. I'm not even only talking about Hamilton. I'm also talking about George Russell. Give those guys the weapon to fight, and just so you can get back to the front row. That's all.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Like I don't really see Hamilton having any room to move, and I think the reality is he needs to raise hell over at Mercedes to kind of. I mean, he's always the team player. He's always like buddy with everybody, but in this case, like, I think he really needs to force them on some level to shake things up and like, we said this about Ferrari a while ago, but Mercedes needs to kind of get their shit together, abandon this failed project, and get him to podiums, man. Get him in contention.
Yeah, and like a lot of the podiums are because of somebody's reliability issues.
Right.
To be honest, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So it's not even that they are in a good base. No, they are lacking performance overall. They are in the midfield. That's like we say. Exactly. The only reason why they are on the podium is a lot of times is because either Ferrari fail or Red Bull fail.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a really, really crappy way of playing out your season.
Yeah, and like I don't want to see me and Sherif we don't want to see that like happening again, because it's tiresome. It's tired to see Max running away with, can I say, fake championship?
Yeah.
In 2021. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see, honestly. But I know Russell is a little bit more bullish about the current W14 versus Hamilton, but I don't think, I mean, I hate to say it this way, but I don't think Russell's opinion is to be fully trusted at this stage.
Yeah.
Because his experience level is not even remotely equivalent to Hamilton's.
Yeah. And when Hamilton was saying the car he says it. He said he doesn't have the connection with the car.
Yeah, which is pretty significant. Let's be honest.
For a racing driver, you need to have connection with the car. Like, the car is the second you, basically.
Mm-hmm. And even his supposed P3 at Saudi Arabia was purely because of penalties that were levied against Alonso, and it was taken away from him once the FIA readdressed their
issue,
gaffe.
the penalties.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, again, just to back up what Joe was saying, this is how Mercedes has been getting on the podium for like over a year now, and that's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
So Yeah.
Yeah.
What else can we say? It's not acceptable. That's all. Yeah.
So that's current, like our current breakdown right now of Mercedes, the news, the rumors, and the question really is, where do you think things are going for the future, Joe? So we talked about kind of where they've been, where they're at currently. What do you think the future holds for Mercedes?
To be honest, from my perspective, I don't see the future change anytime soon. To be honest, because what we talk about the Plan B, Spec B car, it's not like Toto was saying. It's not a holy cow. It's you develop the new car, you need to test it, and how are you gonna test it on the track? People and every other teams are ready to race. Your car is not ready to race. Your car is still in the development. So within these 2 years, I will even say 3 years, I don't see Mercedes can compete in the short term in upfront, to be honest. And hate to say it, dude, man, I think Hamilton might retire soon if they can give them a car. Yeah.
Which is really a shame that Mercedes' own mistakes may be robbing Hamilton of the title, that he deserves. Realistically. And that's a shocking thing, after how many years now of them cultivating his talent, supporting him, dominating the races, for them to make mistakes on this scale,
and it's
really is hurting him.
And it's not like Mercedes' new team. No, they are 8th-time Constructors' Championship team.
Yeah, exactly.
How can they make such a big mistake and then even carry on that mistake to keep on developing the car, which is crazy. It's still crazy for me to see it.
Yeah.
In some level, it's like okay, we have this bad concept. Let's just work on the bad concept and ignore everything else.
Yeah.
To make the bad concept good instead of getting rid of the bad concept and redeveloping the concept that is working.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see Mercedes, dude. That Mercedes, the 8th Constructors' Championship Mercedes, is making such a mistake.
Yeah. Honestly.
And not listen to the number one driver. I mean, your car is driving. Toto Wolff is not in the cockpit. Mike Elliott is not in the cockpit. Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell is in the cockpit. You need to listen to their opinion. If the car doesn't work, it doesn't work. If the car doesn't drive, if the car doesn't connect to a driver, it doesn't connect to a driver.
Exactly.
Question and answer. Yeah, that's the answer.
I'm with you, Joe. I really, from what I'm reading, Wolff is saying that they're making big steps. They're moving forward, and they may be abandoning the zero pod concept. But the reality is, like we've been saying so far, in the real world, they're going to need testing. It's not going to be amazing right out of the gates. It's going to need some revisions and data and all of that stuff. So we may really not see a Mercedes podium till Sao Paulo again, for God's sakes, which is far too late in the season for Hamilton to be even remotely competitive for the championship.
And what if that concept doesn't work again?
Exactly. Which is a huge possibility. So
yeah, because remember, they are developing the new concept in the wind tunnel, not in
the real world testing,
not in the racetrack.
Yeah, exactly.
So isn't this familiar
It really does. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's why even I was saying earlier, like 2023 feels like 2022 all over again.
Yeah, 2022 all over again.
Yeah, it does. And so for me, I think the future for Mercedes is
it's bad. It's really bad.
I don't think it's horrible, but I think it's, you know, when you're growing up and you go from being like a young kid to a teenager, you have a really awkward phase where you know your body is growing in weird ways, and you know your hair is strange, and you know whatever, you get pimples and all of that stuff. It almost feels like that's the phase that Mercedes is in right now.
It also almost feel like Mercedes, the new Formula One team that just came in.
Yeah, it almost does. And the shit thing about it is that we saw this all black Mercedes when they debuted it, and both of us were so hyped, excited, you know?
Yeah.
And then Bahrain just that balloon of excitement and confidence was growing. Then we saw Bahrain, and it was just like somebody put a big old needle and popped it right there.
Yep. Well said.
Yeah, like, oh man, like for Mercedes to be failing with a black car is a first.
It's a shame.
Yeah,
it's a shame. It's a shame. No, man, I like, don't keep. Let's. At least this is what I'm gonna do. Don't keep my expectation too high when we see the new concept.
Yeah.
At least that's all we can do. Just let them do their thing. Let Hamilton do their thing. Do his thing, and see how it goes.
Figure it out and cross our fingers. Yeah. That's all we can do now.
Because I don't think even when they say they gain the big performance, I doubt it. It's not as easy as, you know, on paper.
Yeah, 100% agreed.